Well, that kind of sucks. I'm just on my way to go battle my way up that mountain right there to a place which is right about up there. And get that epic backdrop and make up videos while I check out the wolf sign up there. And I'm gonna go anyways. You never know, it might clear up. But that is that popular spot I did last summer where all the bears are coming up behind me. I'll put a picture here. But that's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go up there. We'll see how it looks by the time I get there. Maybe it'll clear up. Whew. All right. So this is where one of the spots that I videotaped earlier in the summertime. Who knows how much snow is underneath that sled right now. But that's where the stump is that I normally sit. Where I had those moose antlers and the deer antlers one time, I think, and that's where I sit and videotape, and this is what it looks like now. A little high up there, isn't it? Pretty cool. Well, let's hope that hope the wind doesn't hammer on that camera too much. I can't tell from here, but yeah, I know I shouldn't have been up here by myself, but whatever. The sled decided to break down. I'd probably walk out here in about 4 hours or something. No big deal. It's got a bit of a padded down sled trail, so I can walk on top of that if I had to. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to address to a lot of people that email me, message me, and I just don't get the time, because I know if I reply to some of these, they're going to try to engage in a massive question and answer, volleys back and forth. I just don't have time for it, unfortunately. But I get a pile of you young people out there want to know how to become a hunting guide, and so I'm going to tell you how in this video. Okay. So first off, you need to be pre-warned a little bit about what it's really going to be like. You know, there's all sorts of different flavors of hunting guides. There's guides in the South, North America, the guide for wild hogs and white-tailed deer and turkeys and stuff. And it's a lot different than the farther north you get, or the farther west you get, or into mountain guiding. Okay, so I mean, I've hunted all over North America. I've hunted a few times in Alaska, the Yukon. I've guided there. I've guided in BC, all throughout BC. And one thing I can tell you for me, for the style of hunts and guiding that I'm familiar with, that I love, is big game mountain hunting, mountain guiding. Okay, so that's like, you know, stone sheep, mountain goats, grizzly bears, moose, elk, caribou. What else? Black bear, wolves. I don't really guide for deer because I'm too selfish. I love deer hunting myself. But that's what I feel guiding for. And for you to get into that, first, this is what you need to do. First, you need to truly in your heart understand that that is what you want to do, and you love it. You're going to love it. Because no matter what you do in life, if you love it, no matter what it is you do, you're going to be damn good at it. Okay? And if it's okay, you're all right, it's all right. You're going to do an okay, all right job, and probably nobody's going to want to pass on their guide knowledge to you while you're there wrangling, learning how to guide. Because these hunts are as well business transactions that need to go through smoothly, and they are high dollar items. And 100% of those people who spend that money have been saving that money. It's a lifelong dream, okay? And it's their lifelong dream. It's not yours, it's theirs. And you have to be able to help them attain that goal. And you as well, at the same time, have to make that business transaction go across smooth and fair, and make sure that customer gets every single cent of their money's worth. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm talking about being a guide. But so for me, what I did when I decided I wanted to be a professional full-time guide, there wasn't any internet then, and I just went to a magazine stand, and I got a Big Game Hunting Adventures magazine. I read through the articles and went to the back in the classifieds, and I tried to figure out who was most established, who had a bush plane, who had horses, who did remote hunting, and I hand wrote, I think I hand wrote 11 letters. I sent them out and I got 14 replies. Next thing you know, 4 months later, I'm sitting on top of a horse with 20 other horses going North Alaska Highway, and off I went. But what typically will happen is that you'll be hired on as a laborer. This is also called a wrangler. And how you're going to get that job is you are going to do your homework. You're going to find a reputable outfit. I would advise to find an outfit with a bush plane, remote camps, and horseback, because that will mean that you are more than likely not going to have resident hunter pressure. And for me, that's a big bonus, because you want that full remote wild hunt experience. And if you get a job with somebody who potentially guides out of a pickup truck or on quads, that means there's going to be resident hunter pressure doing the same thing there as well. And typically you're not going to quite get as high quality a game in those areas as you are the remote outfits. So then you're going to send off your application to whoever it is you choose you want to work for, and you're going to be persistent, you're going to be stubborn, and you are going to keep on trying to get a hold of them and tell them you want to work for them. You want to show them you're motivated and you're not going to quit. And once they do hire you, you are more than likely going to be doing the following. You're going to be getting up in the dark, lighting the fires in the cabins, the tents, and you are going to be hiking in the dark to find all those horses and get them in time in the morning before everybody's had breakfast. All right? And you're going to get the horses that the guide wants for the day, and you're going to help saddle them up. Once the hunters and the guides take off for the day, you are then going to be responsible for getting the cook the firewood, the cook the water, doing camp chores. Sometimes the wranglers will have to go out and cut trail. All right? Now, if you're working out good and you're showing a good keen interest and you're doing what you're told and you're not telling people you know how to do things better, and you're getting along with people and the guides can tell that you are definitely cut to be a guide, then they're going to take you hunting for the day with them. And that's when it gets real cool. It just gets real cool for you. And then you start to pick up on the skills the guide has. You learn from him, you watch, you get to see all the crazy, wild excitement, the experiences, and then you'll further know whether or not that's the career you want to pursue, is being right there and watching it. And then other times the guide will take you the day after they harvest an animal, and you and the guide will take off to go get that game meat and the antlers and all the goodies with a couple pack horses. Then you'll get to go and learn how to do that, and you'll spend time with a guide, and you can throw questions at him, and he'll probably be teaching you stuff that way too. And then you get to go back to camp, and then you get to learn how to cape. And caping is turning the lips and the eyes and the nose and the ears out in the hides and get him cleaned off for the taxidermy end of things, if that's the route the hunter's going to go. And then that's what you do, and you work your ass off. You never complain. And also, the number one quality you must possess is you do not have it in you to say I can't. And you already know before you get out there if you have it in you to say I can't. Because if you can't do your job and you're out in that remote setting, somebody else out there can do your job, and they can do their job and they can do your job at the same time. Okay? Because once you decide to take on a remote job like that, there's nobody there to bail you out. Mommy's not there to help you. Nobody. The worst, most nastiest discomfort scenarios happen out there. I mean, the worst. It could be -5, -10. You're froze. You're soaked. You're doing whatever. Something happened. You had a few horse wrecks. You still have to ride another 4 hours in the dark to get to where you're going. You might have a wreck. 2 horses might take off that way, buck off all their pack boxes, empty out all the shit, and you got to follow and find every little bit of that trail of wreckage they left, get it all back together, get all those horses back together all by yourself sometimes, and not cry about it, and not leave without them, and tell somebody you can't find them or you had a bad moment. No matter what the weather conditions are, the time of day or night, when the shit goes down, you have to fix it. You have to do it, and you can't snivel and cry about it. And that's all there is to it. And lives can depend on that, all right? So that's a big, big quality. And that's actually a little bit of a speech that I'd always give to the new wranglers we get every summer. They'd be sitting on the side of the highway with us waiting for the next, horse trailer load attack and horses and gear to come and get dropped off before we start a 14 to 18 hour ride. And I'd tell all those young wranglers flat out, Every one of them. So you already know if you got it in you to quit, and you already know that. And if you come into my camp and you quit and you say I can't, I'm going to send you walking to the highway, because now I have to do my job and your job. And those times that you quit and failed were $1,000 days my hunter is paying to be here, and you stole those days from him by quitting and not being able to get those horses in. Okay? So you got to understand that. And that might sound like a bit of a dick attitude to some of you out there, but it's actually not. It's just the way it goes. You got to weed out the weak link. When it comes to a remote camp like that, you have to weed the weak links out before you get them into that predicament, that scenario where they can have a real big, nasty negative impact on that business transaction, on that hunt, and potentially on somebody's safety. Okay, so the longer, what I found is, what I as well found is the farther north you go to guide, typically it's going to be the shorter season, which means the shorter number of days that you're going to have to go into the woods. And for me, I was all about doing it as long as I could. I wanted the most days I could out there. I want to stay out there if I could year round. Obviously that's impossible. So what I found is, for me, guiding in northern BC did it for me, because the farther north you go, winter comes sooner, and those horses have to get ridden out quick before they get snowed in. They could all die that way, right? So, but in BC, for me personally, there's more species to guide for. There's longer season, and it's just too much fun. I love it, absolutely love it. I mean, look at the variety of game we have in BC and compare it to anywhere else. It's incredible. So that's why British Columbia is one of my favorites. And as well, I could get sometimes 120 days plus in the middle of nowhere. And another bonus too is you meet people from all over the planet. It's pretty cool, and some amazing characters that you would never ever normally meet in everyday life back at home. Man, I've met presidents, corporate monsters, Elvis's best friend. I could go down I could go down and down and down the line of the characters that you meet, and then you get invites all over the place, and you get to go visit these people, and you get to see a big chunk of life, and it's just a real super thing to do. But another thing, here's a quick little warning. Another thing that can work against you is if you are not single and you go pursue this lifestyle. Because if you do, you're probably going to be single in the end.